Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jebediah. In today's episode, we're gonna restore this old trailer. It's a solid trailer, but it's got some rust. It was built for a jet ski. We're gonna totally transform it by the end of this episode into going perfectly alongside our ultimate Jon Boat build. So stay tuned to the very end because you're not gonna wanna miss how this thing turns out. We picked up this trailer yesterday, and so we're gonna be going through it to make sure that it's gonna work flawlessly with our new Jon Boat. If you haven't seen the previous episodes, I would say go back, watch these. We're building the ultimate Jon Boat. It's a little 10-foot aluminum boat. But this jet ski trailer is the right size. It's just really not gonna fit for what we have right now. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take off the old bunks because these are too short. After we take off the bunks, we're gonna primer everything, paint everything. Then we're gonna put new bunks on top that are gonna be longer and more supportive for our larger vessel. And then we even have some wheel paint that we're gonna throw on as well to make it look a little bit cool. So let's take off the bunks and we'll get going from there. As we primer this trailer, I want to make a mention of a few things. First, you want to do a light coat. So try not to do heavy coats where you're going to get drips, because that will show up later. The other thing is we're using self-etching primer. Can I see one of the cans, hon? So this is what the can looks like, self-etching primer. Self-etching primer does a couple things. One, on spots where there's rust, like on this bolt down here and all around this trailer, self-etching primer will adhere better through the rust. The other thing is, unless you're sandblasting your stuff, self-etching primer can get a better grip through paint. So it will actually penetrate a little bit through the paint and get a good adherence to the metal. I'm gonna use some thread Loctite just because I don't want anything to jiggle loose as I'm driving down the road, and also in 2 years when I go to change stuff, I can hate myself. So all these bolts and nuts we're gonna go back through, loosen, and then Loctite just a little bit. We finished up primering everything. But with this self-etching primer, something you want to make sure you do is cover it with another kind of enamel. So this is different. Self-etching primer is different than those primer paint combos in one. So this has been already primed, and you can see right here this scratch. I can take my nail and just scratch it right off. This paint is dry. It's just easily scratchable. So you want to make sure you get something like this, an enamel to cover it. This is simply like an interior, exterior. It's meant for like wheelbarrows and tools. So I started on this fender right here. We're gonna go black, and then I have some gold paint for the wheels. It's gonna look really good. We started painting this thing with a satin finish on the black and ended up switching to a flat. The satin didn't turn out very good, just with the inconsistency with layers of paint and all that stuff like that. So we went with flat, and flat turned out great. That's what I'm doing here is I'm going back through with the second and third coat, flat paint. This part was a little bit tricky because we had to make sure the bunks were the perfect size because we had just the right amount of room for our 10-foot Jon Boat on this jet ski trailer. So cutting them to size was a little bit technical, but we got it done. And I'm using some spray adhesive here to make the carpet stick as good as we possibly can, and then we're following that up with staples all the way through to get a nice secure fit onto these bunks. A side note I did notice is by using the staples and going in line with the ridges of the carpet, they hide a lot better. So there you go, pro tip for you right there. If you're intimidated about wrapping bunks and doing this yourself, don't be. Even the ends right here, it's literally like wrapping a Christmas present. So just take your time, fold them as good as you can, and at the end of the day, it's for a boat trailer, so no one's really going to care if it's a little bit off. But it's not hard to do. Just fold them as good as you can and put the staples in. And watch out for your fingers because I almost got my fingers a couple times while I was working on it. So make sure you don't staple your hand. That wouldn't be good. Like right there. I almost did it right there. I know I mentioned cutting the bunks was pretty difficult. This was actually probably the most difficult part, which was making sure that the brackets are in the right place to to mount the bunks, because everything had to be lined up perfectly so that it wasn't overhanging in the wrong way or something weird like that. So once I got the passenger side bunk done, I used that as a template for the driver's side, the left side bunk. I pre-drilled all the holes so that I wouldn't crack the wood. And then once those were in, it was as simple as bolting everything on, lining up, and making it flat and straight. I wanted to paint the wheels because I thought it would look cool. And they were super greasy, so it took me probably about an hour and a half just to rub them and scrub them and get all the grease and grime off. And then we're using a self-etching primer right here to get a good solid hold so that as we spray this beautiful gold paint, it will stick and adhere real good. I love this color combo with the green, like the army green from the boat, and the gold color. Just, to me, looks super nice. We had HydroTurf too left over from the build from last week. And so that's a little bit of spray adhesive, and then we're putting some HydroTurf accents down. I thought they look nice and kind of help tie the boat in together. And also, they're super practical because these, like fenders, for example, right here, kids are going to be getting on the fender to climb in and out of the boat, and the HydroTurf will give it a little bit extra grip and also keep the fender from getting marked up by shoes and stuff as people hop in and out. So a little bit of spray adhesive on there again. You don't need it. The 3M backing on this HydroTurf is pretty strong, but just to make it stick even better. And then measuring everything out so that it's not crooked and that it's even on both sides. That's probably the most difficult part about this installation, is just making sure that the left side and the right side were identical. We're finally finished with the trailer. Let's go give it a look. After we did the self-etching primer, we used a flat black, except for the wheels are gold and they look gorgeous. The HydroTurf on top of the fenders really helps tie in the boat and the trailer together. I even put a little bit of extra scrap HydroTurf up there on the tongue. We added this jack, which you guys saw that already, and then these runners, these bunks we wrapped ourselves. They're 2x6s. The old bunks were only 5 feet. They went from the back here to just this bar right here, 5-foot section. These are full 8-footers. So with that being said, we're wrapping up this episode. The next one, we're on to LED lights and electronics. We've already painted the boat camo, which, let me see that back there. So that was done the first episode. After that, we put in flooring, the HydroTurf in the interior of the boat. That turned out great. By the way, if that video gets 1,000 likes, we'll buy a mud motor and put it on this boat. This is a 10-foot Jon Boat with only a 36-inch bottom. So the idea of putting a mud motor on it is a little bit crazy, but if you want to see that happen, go back, find the video of us doing the interior, this previous episode, like that video. If it gets 1,000 likes, we'll buy the mud motor and probably hurt ourselves. So that being said, make sure to like this one and subscribe to follow along for more. We have a lot more in store, not only with this boat build, but even other stuff coming up down the road. So you won't want to miss it. Make sure to follow along. See ya.